Hello and welcome. I won't be too loud because there are people sleeping, but I wanted to post this video, and this video is going to be about the takeaways from the Odyssey. Now, for those who are not familiar, the Odyssey is a poem by Homer, and it's about a man named Odysseus and his epic journey home. So a lot of lessons can be pulled away from this poem or epic story. But here are mine. So I'm going to list you maybe like 7 takeaways I took away from the Odyssey. So first lesson or takeaway, sometimes it's best to enjoy the journey rather than the destination. In this day and age, we have a tendency to become very results driven. We are in rush to look for the final product, but sometimes we need to pay attention to in between, to the process. Now, when we take trips, we're all excited about the destination, but sometimes the trip itself, the journey, can be just as enjoyable. And sometimes in life, we need to enjoy the process rather than the final product. Any goal that you set, sometimes enjoy the struggle, enjoy the in-between. And had emphasis not been put on the journey, we probably would not have the poem of the Odyssey. So that's my first takeaway. Your second takeaway, or my second takeaway, is your mistakes can greatly affect others, especially as a leader. Now, Odysseus was the military commander, and he was leading his men home, but at times his lack of judgment cost many, many men their lives. Whether he didn't properly pay obeisance, or his haughtiness, or his reckless behavior, a lot of men didn't come home. And it was prophesied that only Odysseus was going to come home. So even in this day and age, your mistakes can greatly affect others. And it can be weightier. Third takeaway is let Crucius remain Crucius. Now, Odysseus' wife, Penelope, was back at home waiting for him. And of course, Odysseus got involved with other women. But if you read more on Odysseus, that later came back to haunt him. And the important lesson would be, just because you like that person doesn't mean that person is good for you. So, let Crucius remain Crucius. Fourth takeaway, assess before entry. Sometimes we don't want to bull rush, or sometimes we have a tendency to bull rush the situation. But sometimes it's more advantageous to sort of assess the situation and not rush into it. Odysseus learned that from Agamemnon, his fellow warrior. Now, Agamemnon was a warrior or commander like Odysseus, and he returned home a hero. There was big fanfare, there was a huge ceremony, everybody welcomed him, but Agamemnon basically was lured into his own death when he was killed by his wife and his wife's lover. Odysseus learned that lesson. When he returned home to Ithaca, he disguised himself as a beggar. He wanted to make sure that the people were still loyal to his position as king. So he had to test not only his subjects, but he had to test his own family, because he did not want to share Agamemnon's fate. Fifth takeaway, our biggest monsters are sometimes ourselves. Now, in the Odyssey, there were many mythological beings. You had a Cyclops, you had a six-headed dog, you had sirens, you had giants. But sometimes our own lustful tendencies could also be monsters as well. We face a lot of battles externally in our lives, but sometimes our battles, our toughest battles, can be internal. Internal is the inclination to do things that we don't want to do, or the inclination to seek stuff that may not be good for us. Now, those can be just as big monsters as the ones depicted in the Odyssey. My sixth takeaway is no one leaves war unscathed. You could imagine Odysseus and his men just when they ended the Trojan War. That war lasted 10 years. Imagine all the bloodshed that they've witnessed. Imagine their fellow warriors dying. It's not like they could go home normal. No, they had to carry that with them. And the Odyssey makes sure that Odysseus remembered those who had fallen during the war. Seventh takeaway, again, is just a repeat of number 5, is the heart is treacherous. It wants what it wants. That's why, it's really important that we guard it. We guard it, and we are careful, and we safeguard our heart. Now, let me know what you guys think. What were your takeaways from the Odyssey? And if you've seen the movie, comment what your thoughts were. Let me know if you liked the material. Hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. And let me know what you think.